I proposed to my GF at her favorite artist concert, then she cheated with him. Backstage, I planned the perfect proposal at my girlfriend's favorite singer's concert, in front of 20,000 fans, thinking it was our forever moment. Hours later, she was in his dressing room, betraying me with her idol. My girlfriend, Chloe, and I had been together for 3 years. We met at a music festival, bonding over our love for indie bands, and our relationship grew from there. Chloe was obsessed with a singer-songwriter named Ethan Cole, a rising star with a huge following. She'd play his songs constantly, knew every lyric, and had posters of him in her old apartment. I wasn't as big a fan, but I liked his music enough and enjoyed seeing her happy at his shows. We'd been to a few of his concerts together, and I'd surprise her with tickets whenever he toured nearby. For our third anniversary, I decided to go big and propose to her at one of his concerts, knowing it'd be a moment she'd never forget. I planned the proposal for months. Ethan Cole was playing a huge show at a stadium in our city, sold out with 20,000 people. I saved up for front row tickets, spending way more than I could afford on my graphic designer salary. I contacted the concert organizers through a friend who worked in events, asking if I could propose on stage during a break between songs. They agreed, saying they'd coordinate with Ethan's team to make it happen. I bought a ring, a simple silver band with a small diamond, exactly her style, and practiced my proposal speech every night in the mirror. I wanted it to be perfect for her. The night of the concert, Chloe was buzzing with excitement. She wore an Ethan Cole tour shirt and spent the whole drive talking about how this was his biggest show yet. I was nervous but kept it together, double-checking the ring in my pocket. The stadium was packed and we were right up front, close enough to see Ethan's face. Halfway through the set, the music stopped, and the organizer I'd worked with signaled me from backstage. They brought us up on stage and the crowd cheered as I took the mic. I turned to Chloe, said how much I loved her and wanted to spend my life with her, then got down on one knee and proposed. She said yes, tears in her eyes, and the crowd went wild. Ethan Cole even congratulated us, dedicating his next song to the happy couple. I felt on top of the world, thinking we'd just started the next chapter of our lives. After the proposal, Chloe was thrilled, showing off the ring to strangers in the crowd. Ethan's team invited us backstage to meet him after the show, a perk they offered for the proposal. I was excited for her. She'd talked about meeting Ethan for years. Backstage, we waited in a lounge area with a few other fans. Ethan came out, all charisma, shaking hands and signing merch. Chloe was starstruck, barely able to speak as he complimented her shirt and hugged her. I took a photo of them together, happy to see her so excited. He invited us to his dressing room for a quick chat, saying he wanted to hear about our engagement. I thought it was a nice gesture, so we followed him. In the dressing room, Ethan offered us drinks and talked about his tour. Chloe was glued to his every word, laughing at his jokes and asking about his songwriting. I noticed she was standing closer to him than necessary, but I brushed it off. She was just fangirling. After about 10 minutes, Ethan's manager came in, saying he needed to prep for a post-show meeting. I stepped out to use the bathroom, leaving Chloe to say her goodbyes. When I came back, the door was locked, and I could hear voices inside. I knocked, but no one answered. A security guard nearby said Ethan was busy and I should wait in the lounge. I didn't think much of it at first, but something felt off. I started texting Chloe asking where she was, but got no reply. I waited 20 minutes, growing uneasy, before she finally came out, saying she'd been talking to Ethan about music. Her hair was messy, and she avoided my eyes, but I didn't push it in front of everyone. I decided to keep an eye on her, saving her texts and noting how she acted on the way home, unsure if I was just paranoid or if something had happened. After the concert and the backstage incident, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Chloe had been acting strange when she came out of Ethan Cole's dressing room. Her hair was messy, she wouldn't look at me, and her phone stayed in her hand the whole drive home. She said she'd just been talking to Ethan about his music and lost track of time, but her explanation felt off. I didn't confront her that night. I was still processing the proposal high and didn't want to ruin it with suspicions. But I started paying closer attention to her behavior, looking for signs I wasn't imagining things. Over the next few days, Chloe was different. She spent more time on her phone, texting or scrolling, and got defensive when I asked who she was talking to. She'd say it was her sister or a friend, but she'd angled the screen away from me. I noticed she was checking Ethan Cole's social media constantly, liking every post and watching his tour updates. She'd always been a fan, but this felt excessive, especially after we'd just gotten engaged. I tried to bring up the proposal, asking if she wanted to start planning the wedding, but she'd change the subject or say she was too tired. It was like she was pulling away, and I couldn't figure out why. I decided to dig deeper. One evening, when Chloe was in the shower, I checked her phone. I felt guilty, but I needed answers. Her texts were locked with a new passcode, which she'd never used before. I didn't push it, not wanting to cross the line, but I started saving screenshots of her social media activity, liking Ethan's posts, commenting with emojis, even messaging his fan page. I also checked our shared laptop and found she'd been emailing someone through a music forum talking about Ethan's tour and exclusive fan experiences. The emails were vague, but one mentioned keeping things private after the concert. It didn't prove anything, but it raised red flags. A week later, I got a chance to find out more. Chloe said she was going to a friend's place for a girls' night, but I noticed she'd packed an overnight bag with clothes she'd worn to Ethan's concerts before. I didn't say anything, but I followed her on my bike, keeping my distance. She didn't go to her friends. She drove to a hotel downtown where Ethan's tour was staying for a follow-up show. I saw her meet a guy in the lobby who looked like part of Ethan's crew. They talked for a minute before she went upstairs. I didn't follow her inside, but I took photos of her car and the hotel entrance, noting the time. My hands were shaking, but I told myself I needed hard evidence before accusing her of anything. When she got home the next morning, she said she'd stayed at her friend's because they'd had too much wine. I didn't call her out, but I started documenting everything: her late nights, the hotel trip, her phone habits. I also checked her email again when she left the laptop open and found a new message from the same music forum contact, thanking her for visiting after the show. It mentioned Ethan appreciating her support. I saved a screenshot and backed it up on a USB drive. I was starting to piece it together. Chloe had likely done more than just talk in that dressing room, and it wasn't a one-time thing. I felt betrayed, especially after proposing in front of 20,000 people to make her happy. I decided to wait before confronting her. Ethan's tour was leaving town soon, and I wanted to see if she'd slip up again, or if this was just a fan obsession gone too far. I kept acting normal, helping with chores and talking about wedding ideas, though she barely engaged. I also reached out to a friend who worked security at the concert venue, asking if he'd heard anything about Ethan's behavior with fans. He said Ethan had a reputation for inviting special fans backstage, but nothing concrete. I saved his message too, building my case. My plan was to gather enough proof to know for sure, then decide whether to confront Chloe or walk away before we got any deeper into wedding plans. With evidence piling up, I was certain Chloe was hiding something serious. I'd caught her sneaking off to a hotel where Ethan Cole's tour was staying, found emails about private meetings after his concert, and noticed her obsessive behavior with his social media. She'd been distant since the proposal, barely talking about our engagement, and her late nights were adding up. I'd saved screenshots of her emails, photos of her car at the hotel, and messages from a venue security friend hinting at Ethan's history with fans. I kept acting normal at home, cooking dinner and asking about her day, but I was planning my next move. I needed undeniable proof before confronting her about what happened in Ethan's dressing room and after. Ethan's tour was wrapping up in our city with one final show scheduled. I decided to attend unannounced to see if Chloe would show up. She'd told me she was working a late shift at her marketing job, but I checked her schedule on our shared calendar and saw she'd taken the night off. I bought a cheap ticket for the upper deck of the stadium and went alone, keeping my hoodie up to blend in. During the concert, I scanned the front rows and spotted Chloe near the stage, wearing the same Ethan Cole shirt from the night I proposed. She was with a small group, but I saw her slip backstage during the encore, escorted by someone from Ethan's crew. I took a quick photo, zooming in to capture her face, and waited outside the venue after the show. Chloe didn't come out for over an hour. I saw her leave with the same crew member heading toward the tour buses parked nearby. They stopped near one of the buses and Ethan stepped out, giving her a hug that lasted too long. I snapped another photo, my hand steady despite the anger building inside. She got into a car with a crew member and left. I didn't follow. I had enough. Back home, I checked her social media and saw she'd posted a story from the concert, tagging Ethan's official page with a heart emoji. I saved that too, adding it to my folder with the emails, photos, and venue friends message. The next day, Chloe acted like nothing had happened, saying her shift had been exhausting. I didn't call her out yet. I wanted to confront her with everything at once to avoid denials. I contacted my venue friend again, who connected me with a former tour staffer. The staffer confirmed Ethan often invited select fans to his bus or dressing room after shows, implying more than just autographs. I saved the staffer's email, which didn't name Chloe but backed up my suspicions. I also found a fan forum post from an anonymous user describing a special post-show meetup with Ethan in our city, dated the night of the hotel incident. The details matched Chloe's outfit from my photos. I printed it out, adding it to my evidence. I chose to confront Chloe a week later, after Ethan's tour left town. I waited until we were home, sitting on the couch after dinner. I laid out everything: photos from the concert and hotel, screenshots of her emails and social media, the staffer's message, and the forum post. I said I knew she'd been with Ethan in his dressing room the night I proposed and had met him again after. I told her I trusted her with our future, but she'd betrayed me with her idol. She didn't deny it, just sat there looking at the floor. I ended things, asking her to move out by the weekend. She packed her stuff and left to stay with her sister. I kept the ring, planning to sell it to cover the credit card debt from the concert tickets. Chloe tried calling a few weeks later, saying she was sorry and wanted to talk. but I didn't answer. I saw her post cryptic song lyrics from Ethan's album online, but I blocked her. I moved on, focusing on my design work and picking up freelance gigs. A year later, I heard Ethan's tour had a scandal involving fan allegations, but Chloe wasn't part of it. I was glad I'd walked away. Proposing to her in front of 20,000 people was my biggest gesture, but her betrayal taught me to trust actions over promises. I'm single now, building my career, and careful about who I let close. That night at the concert still stings, but it made me stronger.